Is it just me, or do I look really tan in the viewfinder? Ugh, I need to adjust the camera again. I'm sorry. Not a good start to the podcast, but I really do look more tan. Maybe it's because I've been outside a lot. Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. My name is Manny, in case you're new here, or welcome back. This is my podcast, Over Easy, and I just film episodes about my life and things that I want to talk about. So there's no real niche or topic or anything like that. Everything is for fun, and today is going to be a pretty fun episode. Actually, I don't even know. It is July 1st, the day that I'm recording this. Happy Canada Day if you celebrate. I don't really celebrate anymore or do anything for Canada Day. Usually my mom and I will go shopping, but this year she is back in China, so obviously we're not doing that this year, but otherwise it's going to be a pretty chill day for me. Hope you're doing well. The more important thing is that half of 2023 is over now, and we're going into the second half of 2023, which is crazy. So today I'm going to do a little mid-year reflection to talk about how the first half of 2023 went for me, how I want the next half to go, and just some life lessons that I've learned along the way. So if you want to participate in this kind of reflection as well, you can take note of the questions that I'm doing. I found them online, so you can search them up for sure. I'll leave the link to it in the show notes as well as in the YouTube description if you're watching on YouTube. I hope you're doing well, though. I'm going to do a really quick check-in. I did get a comment that I should put my check-in at the end, but I personally just love check-ins, and I think it's important. So I'm going to keep them at the beginning. I know it's not, I don't know, one person's opinion is not necessarily true or wrong or right or wrong or whatever. So I'm just going to do what I like. So we're going to do a rose, a bud, and a thorn. A rose is something that's good that's happened this week. A bud is something that's not so good. And a thorn is, no, that's not right. A rose is something that's good. A thorn is something that's not so good. And a bud is something I'm looking forward to. All right. My rose for this week is definitely, like, recently I've been very, very happy with my work life, which is very, very awesome, of course. I mean, I spend so many hours working. It's good that I enjoy it. Now that I've been working for a while, I don't have a belief that you need to love what you do or that your work needs to be something you're super passionate about. I think we're kind of past that point now where your work is your career. You know, you're spending the same 20 years of your working life doing the same job. I think we're kind of over that nowadays, which is totally fine. I think work should just be whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be your passion, it can be your passion. If you want it to just be the hours in which you collect money to pay your bills, that can also be what it is. But for me, I don't think I absolutely need my work to be my passion or like something that I'm obsessed with. I just really like growing in my work, which is really important for me. And I feel like this week in particular was super long, but I learned a lot and it was actually a really good week. So some couple highlights. I'll share a couple. I actually, from start to finish, just went through with a 3.3K business deal, which is crazy. Like, I was the one who helped the customer through that. A customer was basically inquiring about services, and then I kind of brought them through it. I arranged everything for it to happen, and then they paid at the end of the week, and I was just so happy that I was basically kind of like I want to say project manager, but like a leader in this project and helped make it happen and come to fruition. And I'm obviously excited that, I mean, it's not even, the money's not going in my pocket, but the fact that I was able to create something that had so much money to it, I'm like, wow, that is awesome. So really happy with that. Otherwise, I feel like the industry in which I work, which is like logistics and freight management, it's a very, what I've noticed is it's a very common circle of people. The people who are in this industry have worked for 20 plus years, and I feel like everyone knows each other or is at least familiar with each other. So even if you're working with different companies, you might still know the names of the people who work at this company, or people job hop between this industry a ton. So even though you're not at the same company anymore, you might be still in the same field. And I feel like I'm finally like starting to like dig a little hole for myself for where I can stand in that circle. I'm getting to know the companies very well, people at the companies, people recognize me and stuff like that. So it's nice that I'm finally like just making a little space for myself in the circle, and it's really nice. I really like it. So work has been very fulfilling, and I'm really, really happy with that. And it's just been overall very good. Although starting officially today, July 1st, the Vancouver port is going on strike. So who knows, I might not even have anything to do next week because my work literally depends on the port and having that be active. So if it's not active, I'm not going to not have a job, but I just might not have anything to do, which is crazy. So that's my rose of the week. My thorn is, let me think. My thorn. I have a couple I have two. So my first thorn is that it is getting incredibly hot in Vancouver, and I already know that Vancouver doesn't get as hot as other places, so I'm completely aware of that. And also I've been in hotter temperatures, like when I was in Austin last summer, it was like 40 degrees every single day, but I'm back to my Vancouver-esque temperature, norm, and I'm thinking 25 is already really hot, but it's just so hot that when I do my fitness classes, I'm getting so extra sweaty, and I'm so sorry if that's TMI, but it's just the truth. And it just makes me very uncomfortable. I actually used to be someone who never sweat for the longest time, but adulthood, man. So it's been extra hot, so I've been getting extra sweaty in my classes, and it's just not a good feeling. Because I also hate having my hair on my back or touching me when I'm sweating, so I've been having to tie it up extra high. Anyways, it's a very first world problem, I know, but that's just my thorn. And then I'm not going to go into too much detail because obviously I said last week I want to make a whole online dating episode eventually when I collect more data. But I went on a date last night and it was not the best. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad saying that. But I will talk more about it in detail eventually. But it was just, and it sucks because I had such a good one a couple weeks ago. So to go to that is like meh. But I am going on another one tomorrow. I know I've been going on a craze. So we'll see how that goes. My bud is that I am looking forward to seeing a couple friends tonight. Some of my friends I haven't seen in almost a year, honestly, which is crazy. So it's going to be really nice to catch up with them. I've been in a very social mood recently because of the summer and the good weather. So it'll be really good. That is my check-in for today. We're also going to do an affirmation because I love them. All right. Are you ready? Ready? It says, take care of yourself and your skin. Perfect. Take care of yourself. That is very, very important. I know summer can be kind of a hard time for a lot of people. Not everyone loves the summer. For me personally, I'm not a winter person. I'm a summer person. But there are people who can't stand the heat and don't like the constant daylight, which is very valid and fair. So whoever you are, whatever type of person you are, just make sure you take care of yourself. Give yourself what you need. I didn't even say last week I didn't film an episode, and it kind of goes in line with this affirmation because I had an incredibly busy weekend last weekend and I needed to just take a break and I feel like had I filmed my podcast, that would have been like the tipping point, because last weekend I pretty much saw people every single day and I was doing something pretty intense every single day. On Friday night, I went to the club. Oh my gosh. I went to the club because all my friends were back in town, and it's like the once a year thing that you just gotta do. It was pretty fun to see my friends. I'm not a big club person. It was incredibly loud. I don't know. Am I just getting really old? I really did consider bringing earplugs and I didn't, and I regretted it. I'm going to bring earplugs next year because it is too loud. Like, it's so loud to the point where like the floor is shaking and then your body is like shaking because the bass is also so high. And then the music wasn't even that good. Like, I prefer, 2010s throwbacks or just like popular pop music, but all they play is rap and EDM and I'm just not into that. So yeah, anyways, It was fun to see my friends though. We got dinner before and got drinks and stuff, so that was very nice. And then I also went on a bike ride and got some brunch last weekend with another friend, which was super fun to just catch up with her. And then on Sunday I went hiking for a majority of the day. So it was my first hike of the year, which is so late for me. I feel like I'm hiking less and less, which is not good because it's so fun, but also it just takes so much time and you got to coordinate schedules with people. So I understand it's like very time intensive to plan and also execute, but I wish I could go more because last weekend we did Tunnel Bluffs, which is up by Lions Bay if you're in the Vancouver area, and it was so beautiful. The views at the top were incredible, and also the hike was just not bad itself. I was pretty proud of myself because I feel like I can feel myself being fitter this year than last year. Like last year I did a couple hikes and I could definitely feel that I was still struggling a lot, but this year, last week when I went hiking, I felt pretty good and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is hard for sure, but not like I'm not dying, which is crazy, which is good. That's my complete check-in, I will say. I love talking, so I'm sorry if you find the check-ins not nice, but I personally love it. And I think it's fun to just know what people are up to because I've always just been very interested in the mundane activities of human life. Like I've always loved hearing people check in and talk about boring things in their life or what they think is boring. I think it's what makes you, right? So it's really nice. Anyways, as I said, it is the second half of 2023 now, so we're going to do a big reflection on what I have been up to this year because I feel like a lot has happened and just talk about it and plan out the rest of my year because I am starting to think about, the rest of this year, next year, what that's going to look like for me. It's so hard because obviously when you're an adult out of school now, there's like no game plan, which is both a blessing and a curse because obviously you could do anything you want, but also you could do anything you want. And that is crazy. So this reflection that I found on the blog is broken into 5 sections. The first one is gratitude. So let's start with that. There's 3 questions in each section. So the first question is, what worked well and felt good? What worked well and felt good? Okay, I will definitely say starting after my breakup when I really had like an I don't give an F attitude and I just started doing things that I wanted to do whenever I wanted to do them really liberating for me. So for example, after my breakup, I did pottery by myself. I went bouldering. I hung out with friends, or I just went by myself to the farmer's market and stuff like that. It was so nice to know that I am still capable of doing this stuff on my own and I don't need anyone to help me, be with me, or make me feel valid as a person. And that is probably the biggest thing I've learned since my breakup is that I don't need anyone. And I know I'm still in my I want to be single forever era, so that's definitely affecting my mentality. But I definitely think that when I get into my next relationship, when and if I ever, I definitely don't want to lose this independence. Like this time for sure, I don't want to lose that independence ever again because I think it has been so nice. And I was actually just talking about this last night with my Hinge date, but I was just talking about I don't think I need anyone to feel fulfilled or do things with. Like honestly, at this point in my life, I would rather do things by myself if the time with other people isn't going to be more valuable, which is kind of maybe a hot take. So what I mean by that is I think some people, they are happy with just existing in the same space as another person, maybe your partner or a friend. Independent playing pretty much is what it is. You can be by yourself. Maybe we're in the same room, but you're doing something over there and I'm doing something over here. And I personally am right now not the biggest fan of that. I would honestly say if we're gonna just be independently playing, I would rather just go home and do that by myself because like, then what's the point? I've also always been a person where it's like, if we're spending time together, let's spend quality time together and not just exist in the same room. This goes for friendships or relationships. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent, but the best thing that I've done for myself is just reignite this sense of independence. I think this is kind of like what I was feeling last summer when I went on my solo travels, where I felt so just capable of anything that I wanted to do. I could do it, both in a physical sense and in a mental sense. And I just felt very strong and empowered. So I'm loving this feeling again. I'm really appreciating this. Okay. Second question is, what were you grateful for? Okay. Let me think about this. What was I grateful for? Obviously, every day there's like a plethora of things that I'm grateful for. But I think for this answer, I'm going to say I'm grateful for the friendships that I have built and maintained throughout my life. I am incredibly grateful for them. I think especially right now in my single era, it is so important to have friendships to lean on. And also, it makes me remember that, oh, right, like I've known these people for so long, and sometimes you kind of just take for granted the friendships that you have. You know, you might get obsessed with having a partner, or you're obsessed with your alone time, and you kind of take for granted that there are these other people who do genuinely care for you. Last week, I just saw a friend, and I hadn't talked to him. I hadn't seen him in like a year. And I remembered, I was like, oh, like I should have spent more time being proactive about reaching out. Like, I know I didn't do my best with replying to messages and like initiating hangouts. I'm sometimes a person who can just wait for other people to initiate it, but I definitely have remembered recently that like these people are very special, and they're also not going to be in your life forever. Friendships are not guaranteed. You know, people move away. Like I said, with the friend that I saw last week, he's going to grad school in Toronto next year. So I should have spent more time with him while I could, even though we hung out a lot in undergrad this past year. Because I was graduated, I didn't do much. So I want to definitely put that into action in the next half of the year. But I'm very, very grateful for the close friends that I still have, and also the friends that just come back and we catch up maybe annually. It doesn't have to even be like we talk every day. Even just catching up every 6 months, every year is like really nice as well. All right. Last question in the gratitude section is, what brought you happiness, contentment, and joy? And there are so many things that I could answer for this question, but just to change it up, I think I'm going to say work for this last one. I think the last 3 months for sure, I've kind of really focused on putting my best effort into work and really, really learning. And I think I have just developed so much as a person and also as like a business person, which is crazy to say because I literally am just getting my feet like into the pool and I just took a step. But I really do feel like I'm learning so much. First of all, just like with how things work in terms of with freight management in particular, it's a lot of just getting things to places, like from here to here, from A to B to B to C. So learning how that works has been very interesting because there are just a ton of options you could do. This is going to be very niche, so you might not understand, but this is specific to my type of work. But you could do a full truckload. You can do a less than truckload, which is an LTL. You can do different types of trucks depending on the weight of your stuff, like a trailer or a 5-ton or a 2-ton or your own car. There's just a lot of options, and learning about the details of everything and also what's the best for each location, type of shipment, stuff like that has been really, really fun. Actually, I feel like I'm like getting really well versed in it. And also, I think the biggest thing that I've enjoyed is just, I've been a big people person since I've been working because I talk to so many clients and customers and all this kind of stuff every single day. I feel like this week in particular, I had so many phone calls. I was like on the phone every 5 minutes. People were calling me, which is crazy. But I think it's really, really nice to be able to talk to people over the phone. Email is like fun too, but over the phone is definitely a different type of feeling that you don't get over email. So it's been really, really nice. And I think my customer service skills and soft skills have improved immensely the past 3 months since I've really like put my head down and work and like focused on it. So I'm really happy with that. And I definitely, one thing I want to say is I definitely didn't expect all of this. Like when I went into this job, my mom was like, oh, I need some help at the office. Like, can you help? I was not very excited, and I was, kind of dreading it because I was like, oh, I don't want to work with my parents. Like this type of work seems boring and not like what I want to do. But even then, that might be the case. And maybe I don't stay in logistics forever. I've still learned and developed a ton of invaluable skills that I think will be applicable anywhere. And I feel like if I had another job interview tomorrow, I would be a lot more confident with the value that I bring, because I know that maybe I don't have the skills to do a new job, but I know that I have the capacity to learn the skills that I need, and also the willingness to learn. And I think that's the most important thing when you're working full time, is not that you need to know all these hard skills for these different jobs, because those are things that you will always learn and can always teach to people. But it's the soft skills that differentiate candidates that are really important. So I've been really happy with that. Very grateful. And yeah, I think I've learned a lot. All right, let's continue with the second section, which is growth. First one is, what did you learn? That is such a vague question, but I am gonna say the biggest thing that I learned is that, this is gonna sound corny, but the biggest thing that I learned is really that you have the freedom to create your own life path and make it whatever you want it to be. If you want to go and travel for the rest of your life, you can figure out ways to do that. But I think the reason why I say that is, you have the freedom to make your life whatever you want, is because I think too often I got stuck in making sure that my life was what people around me wanted it to be, whether it be like expectations that they had about my work, what I did in my free time, blah, 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 anything. I realized that as long as my life looks fulfilling and happy to me and I'm satisfied with it, that's all that really matters. Everyone else's opinions are not really relevant. I definitely struggled with this for a long time, but recently, as I was thinking, I was like, you know what? Like, first of all, I am so happy with my life right now. And also, that's amazing. And I don't need anyone else's opinions on my life. Opinions or advice, unsolicited. I don't need it. If I personally think, okay, I want to keep growing now and change it up maybe, then eventually I will. And I am thinking about that. I'm always thinking about that. But you can make your life whatever you want it to be, and no one else's opinions matter except your own. And that is a big thing that I learned, and I'm very happy that I learned it. Next, what did you discover about yourself? I definitely discovered that I can be more extroverted than I thought I was. For the longest time, when I first moved out in the winter, I was like, oh, I'm such an introvert. Like, I love being home all the time and stuff like that. But I think that's also just because it was the winter and I was kind of sad and I didn't want to leave my place. But in the summer, I'm like, oh my God, I want to talk to everyone. I want to meet people. I want to just have fun small talk. I used to hate small talk, but I have small talk every day now, which is crazy. And I've definitely discovered that there is a side of me that can come out and be a big people person and get to know people and stuff like that. And I really have been enjoying it because I think people are so interesting, and that's definitely one of the biggest parts of life and why I love it. And lastly, in the growth section, has anything surprised you? Surprised me. Oh, one thing that surprised me is definitely that I love, okay, wait, it's not really a surprise because I've always been, but one thing that surprised me is how routine I love. What? That doesn't even make sense. How much I love routine and how much I can not get sick of it, which I'm very, very surprised about. I have been doing the same routine for the last 3 months, which I guess isn't super long, but it's like the wake up, do the same morning routine, go to work, and then do a fitness class, and then come home, cook dinner, relax, and go to bed. And I do that every single day on the weekdays. And it is really, really nice. Like, I really enjoy routine, and that is definitely something I've learned. And kind of surprising because for the longest time I was like, I want to be spontaneous. I'm in my young 20s and all that kind of stuff. But in this current moment, I am loving stability and I'm loving the predictability. Like weekdays are my calm girl era, and then weekends I'll go feral. Feral being like going out to the farmer's market. But I definitely am surprised by how much I like it, because there are times when I hate doing the same things every day. Like I don't like eating the same things every day, but I've been really enjoying my routine. All right. Third section is accomplishments. So the first question is, what did you accomplish? What did I accomplish? I don't even know. Well, I accomplished big steps of growth in work. I have learned a lot, and I have started, conducting my own business deals, which is crazy, which is basically like providing services to clients and then putting those into action, getting quotes from other people, and then I will quote and then putting that all into action. It's like crazy. It's so much fun. So definitely accomplishing a lot at work and learning a lot. And I think, again, like I said earlier, the development of soft skills has probably been a really, really big step for me this year. Soft business skills, like being able to talk to clients and present in a way that makes the client feel at ease really, really gets you a long way. So if you're ever looking for business tips, maybe I can sometimes help. But definitely, like when clients call me and they're asking about things, your general tone and demeanor really, really sets the conversation's tone and the client's attitude. That's something I've learned. If you approach them with no empathy and very just like harsh and feeling like you have other things you can do and the client can tell, the client will get very aggressive with you. So work side, definitely have accomplished a lot, just learning and new milestones. I think personally I've accomplished being stronger physically in my fitness classes is definitely another one. My accomplishment is I can do 4 pull-ups now, which is a big step. I could only do 1 2 years ago. And I only got my first one 4 years ago. So it's like a 1 every year type of thing. I can do 4 now, which is crazy. And I'm still working on it. Oh, it's been such a long process, but very proud of myself for that. And then I think just personally accomplishing a sense of a fulfillment in my life. Like I think being able to feel that way is also a big accomplishment, like fulfillment in my life and happiness. What are you most proud of? I am very proud of myself for not losing myself completely after my breakup, because I didn't realize at the time, but after my breakup, I realized just how much time I was spent thinking about my previous partner and physically being with them. And I had lost a lot of myself in that relationship, I feel. And it's been really nice to know I feel like I didn't completely collapse, which was really nice. Like it wasn't like I had nothing to do. Like pretty much right after my breakup, I was up and at 'em and doing other activities and filling my time. And it wasn't like I was distracting myself, but it was more like now I finally had the time to do the things that I've always wanted to do and wanted to put more time and effort into. Hobbies that I've always enjoyed, but just always got put in the back burner because I never had the time. So it's been really nice being able to prioritize myself, and I'm very proud of not feeling like I was not a complete person after my breakup. Okay, and last one. Last one in this section. If you set any goals, did you reach them and did you celebrate? I honestly don't really set goals anymore. I did before in my journal. Oh, I did, but this month I didn't. But before I set goals that were very like mindset based, like I remember, my journal's downstairs and I don't have my old journal, but I'll try to recall as much as I can. I remember I set goals after my breakup, which were like try not to control things that are out of my control. That was in regards to my master's application, and also just feel like myself again, prioritize myself. Other goals were just to have a happy and healthy summer. I think that's like all I can ask for nowadays, really. I don't have like, I must get this much money in business deals this month. Like, I've never been like that. I always take things as they are and just learn as I go, and I've been really happy with that. So I don't have a ton of goals. I definitely am very happy with my podcast growth. I've been a little inconsistent this summer because I've just been very busy, but I'm very happy with that. I've been noticing that there are people watching and listening, which is crazy, and I was recently reminded of that fact, and it's just like wild to think about. But also, another goal is definitely I have been listening to myself again and doing what I want. And what I mean by that is I've taken a break from YouTube for a couple weeks now, and I don't know if I'll ever go back, but just when I will. I haven't planned for it yet, because before I'd be so hard on myself because I'd be like, oh, I need to post weekly, like this is my thing, like I need to. But I've been, just listening to myself again. If I don't feel up to it, recording your life is quite vulnerable, and you feel like you have to live for the camera, which cannot always be the best. So I'm proud of myself that I am able to listen to myself and what I need and honor that and not feel guilty about that. All right. Section 4 is challenges. What wasn't working or wasn't feeling good? This past year, I think what wasn't working would probably be not prioritizing what I need enough. I haven't gone back to therapy in a little bit, which is not good because we kind of left it off in like a open conversation. But I realized in counseling after my breakup that there were a lot of things that I still need to heal from and work through. And what I mean by that, let me try and think of some examples. I think while I do say that I, prioritize myself and do what I want, I think that in my previous relationship, I definitely did not honor that. And I was constantly not voicing my boundaries or what I wanted, and that led to a lot of resentment and just inner turmoil. So I definitely think that making my boundaries very clear from the get-go, like for example, right now as I'm online dating, I make it very clear that I don't want a long-term relationship right now. Like, I am open to meeting new people and stuff like that, but I'm very clear that you should not expect something serious from me right now because I'm just living life. And not just in relationships as well, just also with friendships and other people in my life. I think also like with my family, I've also set a lot of boundaries that I've been very clear about. Like, if my mom offers to hang out, I'll be like, oh, maybe not today, but I'll see you for dinner this week or something like that. It's not like I am shutting myself off completely from these people, but it's just kind of like, I need this time to relax and recuperate right now, so let's do something else another time. Next question is, was there anything missing? Was there anything missing? That's an interesting question. What's been missing in my life was my bike, but I got it now. I think what's been missing, I don't even know how to answer this question because it's so interesting. It's like such an odd question. Oh, I think what's been missing that I finally put into action this year is kind of like taking a step forward. For the longest time, I was kind of straddling a bunch of things because I couldn't make a decision and I didn't want to. And I know a lot of people are very like, oh, if I take one step forward here, it's closing doors elsewhere. But also, when you take a step forward in a certain direction, it closes doors elsewhere. That is true. But it also opens a ton more doors in your direction. And that is something I realized and was missing, was just that like determination to make a decision and take a step. And committing full time to a job has been healthier for me, for my mental health, and also just so much better for my personal development. I mean, as I've been raving about this whole episode, I feel like what was missing was like finally making a decision and also feeling sure about it. Like maybe I don't know the outcome of the decision right away, but at least feeling sure that all the decisions that I make are going to work out and be okay. And that is definitely a good answer. Okay, the last question in the challenges section is, was there anything draining you of your energy, motivation, and time? And I will definitely say not doing enough of what you want is super draining, actually. When you are constantly doing things, I think it just has to be a balance. Like if you're constantly doing things you don't want and not enough stuff of what you want, then you'll constantly feel burnt out and just tired. But when you can supplement what you don't want to do with what you want to do. So for example, if you're working and maybe your work is not your favorite thing, but at least outside of work, you can do really fun things and things that you want to do and engage your personal interests. I think that is manageable. I'm lucky that obviously work and personal life are both fulfilling for me right now. So I don't feel very drained, but I definitely think before when I was doing too much of what I didn't want to do, so spending time with people because I felt like I had to, or it was basically that, mostly was definitely super draining. Okay, the last section is plans. So, what would you like the second half of the year to look and feel like? I definitely want it to feel independent like it is now. I want it to look and feel healthy. That's like the biggest thing for me, happy and healthy. I am feeling great right now with my life, with my structure, and I definitely think as the days get shorter again, because it's past summer solstice, the days are getting shorter, which is crazy. I definitely want to still not hold myself up in my apartment and just lose all motivation if the weather is not nice, because that is definitely something that I struggle with every single year, is just that winter blues and feeling sad and not motivated if it's raining every single day. But even if it is, I want to keep this good attitude up and find things to do inside that are still going to be fun and still keep that balance. Second one is, how do you want to be spending your days, weeks, and months? So I really love working and I want to keep working right now because I feel like I have so much still to learn, but I've actually been thinking about next year and I'm like, do I want to travel again? ? And that is the only bit I'll talk about right now. I'm not going to talk too much in depth about it because it is still a fleeting thought in my brain. It's not like something I've thought in depth of, but it's definitely a possibility. But as of right now, my days and weeks and months, I still want to keep working and just doing what I'm doing right now, which is exercising, spending time with friends, working, doing personal stuff on my own, developing myself, meeting new people. It's great. Third is, what do you want more of and what do you want less of? Ooh, that's a good question. What do I? I don't even know. I want more of summer, if that's even an option. I want more of summer forever and I want less of winter. So maybe I can move somewhere else. I think though, the reason why I get so happy in summer though is because I've survived through the winter. Like, it's like that you don't know good things until bad things have happened to you. So even if I did move to somewhere that is constantly hot all year round, I don't think that would make me happy either, because then I just wouldn't be able to really savor the good days. But what do I want more of and less of? I definitely want more of meeting new people. This summer I've through Hinge met so many more people and just talked to more people, and I think that's really nice. I think that's really fun. I wish like in adulthood there was more ways to just meet people organically. It's kind of hard, especially in Vancouver. Like what I mean by that is in university, if you go to house parties and stuff like that, you'll always meet friends of friends of friends, like through other people, but it is kind of hard after university because everyone is kind of doing their own thing and people get together less often, so it can be a little bit challenging. So maybe more of meeting new people organically, however that may be. Less of living for other people's expectations. That's a good one. Do you have an overarching ambition, vision, or goal? Well, what the heck? That's a really big question to ask. I think right now my main focus is to learn as much as I can through work, and eventually, I've been thinking about this recently. I don't know how much I want to talk about it on the podcast yet because it is like also still a fleeting thought, but I think I want to transition over into like project management, and I still love logistics, but just not in a supply chain sense. I think first of all, it's just too much unpredictability. And I definitely know that project management and stuff like that, there's unpredictability everywhere. But the supply chain in particular is extremely volatile and messy all the time. And it's just not good for my stress levels at times, which is not the best. So definitely transitioning over into something like project management in a different area, maybe still in logistics of some sort, would be really nice. I also am thinking about sales. Like I really like sales, and I have been practicing that through my job right now. I've done a few sales, as I've said, but I think right now until the end of the year, for the rest of 2023, it's a working girl era, and I'll be focusing on just soaking up as much as I can from the people around me and the skills that I can learn. And then next year, I'm thinking about what I want to do. As I said, I'm thinking about traveling again. I might go back to school. Definitely wouldn't be for this cycle, or maybe even the next cycle. It would probably be for the cycle after. So I'd be like 25 or 26. Oh my gosh, that's crazy to say. But I am still thinking. I'm thinking about it. That's all I can say. I don't know if it's like a for sure thing, but I'm thinking about it, which is got to start somewhere. So for the rest of this year, at least, my life will probably look pretty similar to as it is now, which I'm honestly really excited about because I still have so much to learn, and I know that, and I'm just like a young little seed still developing, and I think that's the best kind of attitude to go into. I feel like nowadays, and I don't mean this to shade to anyone, really, first of all, it's really hard to find a job right now, and second of all, I think a lot of college graduates are graduating with a sense of entitlement and just feeling like they deserve a job. And I am all for, feeling like you get a job that you are worth, like making sure you're not being taken advantage of and stuff like that. But I think that there's just so much to a job that you will never know until you're actually in it. And you can only learn so much through a job description and an interview with someone. You can, being in the job itself, I think is very, very different, which is very interesting. And I think there's just always growth. There's no way that if you are looking for it, that you can't grow in a job. So that's my mindset, at least. And I think it's possible anywhere. I don't know. Maybe I just have a really naive way of looking at it, but that's just my personal view, and I think it's possible. But anyways, I've been recording for a bit, so I'm going to stop here. I hope you enjoyed my little mid-year reflection. 2023 has been a really crazy year, but a really, really good year so far. And I'm really happy with it, especially June. June has been the best month by far, and I've been so happy. And I'm just living the best life that I can. It's hot girl summer. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you take some time to reflect on your first half of 2023 as well, if you want to. And I'll see you next week for another episode. Bye.
And I was like, yo.